happiness, a normal family. I want to know what it's like.
I don't want to be in foster care. That's the problem.
I don't have any family.
Never met your parents?
I met them, but I haven't seen them since I was little.
In 2002, Five on Your Side started a new project called A Place to Call Home. The goal, to find one child, their forever family. Well, 21 years later, here we are celebrating a huge milestone. Welcome to 500 Forever Families. Darnell had been in foster care for 5 years when he was featured on A Place to Call Home, and all the way in Arlington, Virginia, the Tarantino family saw his story and knew they couldn't pass him up. The bond between 12-year-old Darnell and 11-year-old Tyler is strong. Are you two best friends?
Yes. It's great. I can finally have someone to play with.
It feels as though they've known each other all their lives, but they've only known each other about 2 years. In 2021, Darnell had been living in foster care for 5 years. Things quickly changed once Darnell was featured on A Place to Call Home.
So Darnell is 9. He loves the outdoors. He'll tell you all the time that he loves skateboarding, riding scooters. He loves being on his bike. He loves football and basketball.
The Tarantino family lives in Arlington, Virginia, but Darnell's video made its way to them.
So we saw him on A Place to Call Home, and we just remember that he had a huge smile. He had, his cheeks were, we love his cheeks.
It was almost like love at first sight.
The family spent weekends flying back and forth to get to know Darnell.
It was really nice. They took me out to go trick-or-treating, and I was like, when I first saw Mom, I was like, when can I start calling you Mom? And she said, whenever you want, and then that's when I started calling her Mom.
And then we finally became his foster parents right before Christmas.
The adoption was finalized in July 2022.
Yeah, he is so smart and so funny. He makes me laugh every single day. Both of them do.
Darnell was adopted in July of 2022 through A Place to Call Home. Now we have reached our 500 Forever Families.
More than 500 children are waiting for a permanent home, more than 1,000 in the foster care system. Because of these troubling numbers, News Channel 5 has decided to tackle a new project called A Place to Call Home.
Shortly after 9/11, the general manager, the marketing director at the time, and myself, I was over community relations, we're trying to come up with something that would really make a difference and make an impact in our community. It was such a tragic event. We wanted to do something that kind of brought everyone together. And so fast forward a little into 2002, we decided to start A Place to Call Home.
I first met Jasma and Kanisha at the Painted Zebra in Kirkwood. Ready to paint? Kanisha, what do you think?
I like the chair, but I get the teddy bear.
Want the teddy bear? Okay.
Now, Channel 5 also has its origins with foster care and adoption through Karen's Kids. Karen fostered the program for a number of years, but she actually had to do the entire program. She had to work on court orders to get the kids on TV and all of the things. But we partnered with Foster and Adoptive Care Coalition, and they took care of the court orders, finding us the children, and then we got to do the fun part of finding a fantastic place to take the kids. We picked locations that would bring out their little personalities because we really wanted them to have a fun time. They have so many not great memories. We wanted to give them a good one that no one could ever take away from them. When we are looking for a place to take the children, the coalition is really good about coming up with what they like. Then we can find the perfect place to take them, whether they like arts or they like music, they like animals, and I have never found a place that has told us no because they didn't want to help us. There may have been a scheduling conflict, but the St. Louis businesses have surrounded A Place to Call Home, and they go above and beyond. These kids feel like $1 million when they walk out of any of our tapings.
I love it so much.
Yeah. What do you think?
It sounds really good to me.
Yeah. Nice job. Thank you.
Congratulations.
I'll never forget, we had a sibling group of 9, and I told the social worker, where in the world are we going to find one family for 9 kids? Who is going to adopt them? And so we took our sibling group of 9, the youngest was 3, the oldest was 14, to a park. And their bond was incredible. And they didn't even live in the same home. But they were so excited to see one another. And then lo and behold, somebody from St. Louis saw the story, emailed a family they knew of in Iowa. They adopted all 9 kids and moved them to Iowa. And it was just to see the family come pick them all up and know that we're going home. What this program has actually taught me, and hopefully the community, is who these kids are. They are just like any other kid. They want to go and do typical things. They want to go in the yard and play. They want to go to schools. It wasn't until a couple years into it that I sat back and just thought about the impact of this program, that it hit me. I'm adopted. So just to think, and I was adopted as an infant, but just to think that other kids could potentially have a family with love and extended family like I did, it makes me not ever want to stop helping kids in foster care.
Oh my God. You know, originally it was just supposed to be an emergency placement just for a weekend, and it ended up being for a lifetime.
Nearly 60% of St. Louis foster children featured on A Place to Call Home through our partnership with Foster and Adoptive Care Coalition have been adopted. Another one of those children who found their forever family through A Place to Call Home is 11-year-old Joel. Here's his story.
Probably about 5 years ago, we decided that we knew that there was older children who needed homes. Gosh, Sarah moved in pretty quickly, and then her sister moved in 6 months later, and we adopted them the following year. Then we decided we wanted to adopt a boy.
No, leave it go, leave it go.
When we seen Hunter on A Place to Call Home, we just knew that we had to at least meet this kid. And we knew from there that he was part of our family. It seemed like it was meant to be, and just another addition to a wonderful family, I believe.
We like to go outside and stuff, and we like to camp and fish. And Caitlin, she loves technically anything. Okay. Sarah, she's obsessed with softball. Mom, she's like Caitlin, she loves animals. And then there's Dad, and I work with him and with cars and stuff.
They're wonderful children. They keep us very busy, very entertaining.
That scare you? Yes.
They're full of love. They just are amazing. Just definitely don't be scared to be a foster parent or an adoptive parent. All the kiddos out there, there's plenty in Missouri that need help, and they're very loving kids, doesn't matter what age they are.
It is so rewarding, and there's so many kids that need a home and need a family. It doesn't matter what age they are. They all have plenty of love to give, and as we did too.
I have hosted A Place to Call Home since 2018, and it's really important to me because I actually adopted 2 little boys myself. So I was 29 years old. It was 2014 when I did decide to adopt them. I was living in California. I had just moved to a new city, so I was exploring a lot, going out to a lot of social events. Taking care of kids and play dates was the last thing on my mind. And I found out that one of my cousins actually had twins. Initially, I wasn't gonna do anything, but I kept feeling this tug at my heart. I went up to visit my family in Boston in August, and that's where the boys were born, and that's actually where I was born. All of my mom's family lives there in Boston. I saw this piece of paper that my grandma had, and it had a number written down on it, and I asked her, well, Grandma, what is this number? And she said, oh, those are the, folks calling for the adoption agency. They got the Northeastern accent. And she's like, but I want to do it. And so I took the paper and kind of folded it up and put it in my pocket. and thought to myself, I'm going to call them later when I get some time. And every morning when I would go to work, on the side of the train, there was this little advertisement. And every day would scroll by, and on the side of the bus it said, "Foster and adopt now." But it just kept happening over and over and over. Obviously, I'm a weatherman, and so when I would go to work, you know, you have to adjust the sky cams and get them looking nice. And there'd be like a little billboard off in the distance, and it would say, "Make miracles happen, foster and adopt now." And I just kept seeing it everywhere. Then I started having dreams. And the whole time, I'm seeing these billboards, and I'm seeing all these signs. And I knew the universe was speaking to me. I knew God was trying to get my attention. And so in October, I had a final dream. It was enough to make me remember that I had that piece of paper from my grandma. So I found the piece of paper and unfolded it, and I called the number. Well, this time somebody answered, and they put me through to the social worker, and she put me in contact with the foster mom. We started FaceTiming, we started talking almost every day on the phone, just so the kids could hear my voice and I could get used to seeing them and they could get used to seeing me. And I mean, it seriously just went from 0 to 60 like that. And then in January, I went to go visit. And I saw them. They looked just like me when I was a baby. And so it just was another one of those moments where I was like, this is so meant to be. And we visited Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I remember on Sunday, Matthew was having a really rough day. And so he was crying and he was kind of fussy, and the foster mom, she's like, "I don't know what's wrong with him. He's been crying all day." And so I just held him, and he just fell asleep. And he fell asleep on my shoulder. And I actually took a picture of it because the foster mom, she was like, "This never happens." It was so precious in that moment to see this little baby feels so comfortable to fall asleep on essentially a stranger. This is meant to be. This is really about to happen. They were placed with me in May, and they were 14 months, and I really think this was a supernatural, divine intervention the night I got the call that the kids were actually going to be placed with me. I remember looking up and there was another billboard, and it said, "Welcome to Parenthood." And I just thought, this is crazy. It just keeps happening. And I knew it. I knew that they were supposed to be with me. So after I adopted, I realized it does take a village. I didn't have any family nearby. And so I was hiring babysitters, and a lot of that, for me, made me feel very uncomfortable because I was hiring people essentially that I did not know. I thought I could do it all by myself. But I quickly found that I did need help, and not just help from people, but people that I trusted. So coming back home to St. Louis, where my family is, it just made sense. Matthew and Alex are 10 years old now. It's crazy to think it's been a whole decade, but we've made it. They have occupied my time so much to where, you know, you think about, oh, I'm young, you go to the bars, you go hang out with friends, and I knew when I adopted them that I would have to make that decision. Have I done enough in my life to where I would be willing to give it all up for them? And the answer was yes. And I don't have any regrets now because it's so full, but it's also so fun. It's really sad when I see that there's such a great need for children to be adopted. It really, you know, tugs at my heart, but also it makes me think of the possibility that could be. You know, that child's story isn't done. And sometimes it's the person who's feeling that tug or who's feeling that, you know, having the dreams or feeling those, you know, emotions, that I think that's the hope, that we have to just answer that call. My hope now with doing A Place to Call Home is that we can encourage people to follow that tug and to follow that drive, even if they'd never considered adoption. I remember people kept saying to me, you know, you saved their life. And when I look back on it now, they saved mine. The ultimate goal for children in foster care is to find their forever family. And, well, if you can't adopt or foster, there are other ways you can help. And it's through a program called Little Wishes.
Little Wishes is really for kids in foster care to be able to have the best time that they can in the situation they're in. And then every single child featured on A Place to Call Home also gets a little wish as well. So there's always kids looking for little wishes to be granted.
As we started featuring the children on A Place to Call Home, we realized we were getting calls and people wanted to know, how can I help? Like, I can't foster or adopt, but what can I do? And so I talked with the coalition and we came up with Little Wishes. So this was an activity or a childhood experience. Like, it could be a bike, it could be a trip to the City Museum, a Cardinals game. And we always made sure that if it was an activity, they didn't go by themselves, because what fun is that? So we always included that they could bring the other foster kids in their home, or if there were biological kids in their home, or a buddy, to be able to go out and just have these amazing experiences.
I would say experiences are definitely the really big one. So passes to Six Flags, or going out with their siblings to Dave & Buster's. We also have kids who are able to get room makeovers. So maybe they're moving into a new home, and that we really want to make sure that their placement is solidified in a place that they can call home and a place that feels good to them. And then also summer camps are a huge little wish that we grant every single year. I would say that's probably the biggest one that we do, especially during the summer. Kids can get opportunities to go wherever they want to. And then Holiday Little Wishes was born out of that in 2006, and that brings gifts to kids who are foster and adoptive and guardianship, so that they can have Christmas presents to open on the day of. We create a catalog that goes out in, I think, October for every single foster and adoptive family that we have served who's in our system. And in that catalog are a bunch of different gift options for kids who are adoptive, guardianship, and in foster care. And every kid gets at least one of those gifts. In the second part of the catalog are those more experiences, maybe those big ticket items, quote unquote, like a bike, or a scooter, or an electric scooter, some of those like cooler gadget kind of things. And kids who are 8 to 20 in foster care can get that second item. And so kids will go through and they can pick out what they want. We start ordering gifts in November. We have a whole gaggle of volunteers who works from November into December to help us order over 4,000 gifts potentially every single year. So everything gets mailed to their front porch, so every kid has something to open up on Christmas Day. Our year-round program runs from January to October, and then in October we shut down our regular Little Wishes to move towards our holiday program. So any day of the year you can go onto our website and find Little Wishes that are being posted, both from foster children who are not on A Place to Call Home, and then every single child featured on A Place to Call Home also gets a Little Wish as well. So total, 87,044 Little Wishes have been granted, and that's holiday wishes and Little Wishes granted through A Place to Call Home.
Thank you for the LOL doll. It's my favorite. From Emma. Thank you for the hoodie. I wear it almost every day. I like that it's a name brand and I fit in with my friends. From Jimmy. Thank you for the air hockey table. It's the best thing I've ever got in my entire life. Thank you so much. From Joey. Thank you for my aqua beads. They've been really fun. I appreciate you making my Christmas wish come true. Happy New Year. From Caroline. Thank you for my new watch. I look so cool wearing it. Now I can see how much I walk. From Savannah. To whom it may concern, Ree Lee loves her chair desk. She sits in it every day, playing like she's at school. When we finally got it together, she was jumping up and down. She tried sitting in it before it was finished. It made her Christmas really fun.
One huge thank you to everyone who's ever donated to Little Wishes. We truly could not do this without you. But our donors are really, really special. We have a really passionate, really dedicated group of donors who I am truly so thankful for, and will always be.
It all started with one goal: to find one child their forever family. Thank you, St. Louis, for giving 500 children a place to call home.
If you're considering fostering or adopting, contact the Foster and Adoptive Care Coalition at 1-800-FOSTER-3 or visit them online at foster-adopt.org. If you are featured once on A Place to Call Home, we want to hear from you. Tell us what you've been up to. Email us at tips@ksdk.com. Thank you, St. Louis. 500 forever families, and we are just getting started.
I just want to say thank you, KSDK, for helping me find my forever family. I really like that you guys did that. That was very kind.